Hi you guys. So I'm sure this has happened to you. You came out to look at your beautiful cucumbers and overnight you're finding that they've yellowed and they're old. Some of them are really yellow and old. I've got one down in there. I'm just going to leave that one go so I can get seed from it, so I want it to get gigantic. And then you'll have some that are fine. So you pick those. But I'm going to show you a way to make relish that allows you to use either nice fresh cucumbers or these older yellowing cucumbers, and it comes out just as well either way. So let's go use up some old yellow cucumbers. Alright, so look how many yellow cucumbers I have. I just teared out the bowl here. Got over almost 8 pounds of cucumbers. The dish I'm going to follow is a pickle relish that I got from this book, which is a nice companion book to the bulb preserving guide. It's almost exactly the same as the pickle relish recipe that I made, hamburger. Let's see, it's called hamburger or sweet hamburger relish. I made a video on it last year. It's in here. But this one has significantly less sugar in it, which is something I've been wanting to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm just going to double the recipe. So I'm going to do 4 pounds. I'll figure out something else to do with those other overly ripe pickles. One thing I don't like about this book is it doesn't tell you how many jars this is supposed to can up, but here is the list of ingredients, and it uses apple cider vinegar, which I like that idea. Here are the directions for you, and you can just put it right in the refrigerator, or you can water bath it. Anybody who tells you you can just take the hot broth, hot everything, put it in a jar, put the lid on tight, turn it upside down on a towel, and it's sealed, well, they're right, because it will seal, but that's not safe. Don't do that. You can still get bacteria and botulism in a jar doing it that way. Yes, our grandmothers did it that way. Probably most didn't get sick. We have different bugs now than they did when our grandmothers were alive. Our grandmothers also didn't wear seatbelts. They also didn't wear helmets on their bikes or when they went skiing. I mean, just because somebody used to do something doesn't mean it was the brightest thing to do in the world. So just pop it in the frickin' water bath for 15 minutes, okay? Not a big deal. Anyway, back to what we're going to do here. So I'll double this recipe. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, my kitchen, my rules. I'm changing my mind here. I'm going to triple the recipe. I can't seem to get it down enough to where it looks like I'm going to be making any at all, so I'm just shy of 6 pounds. Oop, I touched the scale, so I'm going to pretend it's 6 pounds. Anyway, so well, that means we're going to triple the recipe. Okay, now what do we do? So I take the cucumbers, I peel seed and dice them. I take my onion and my green pepper and my red pepper and add salt in a bowl and set aside for 2 hours and drain thoroughly. What this is going to do is help crisp up the cucumbers, especially important when they're old. That's an old technique that our grandmothers did. In this case, it makes a lot of sense. That way you don't have to really use pickle crisp. I mean, you can if you want, but this is easy. Why not just do it this way or give it a try? All right, let's get to chopping. All right, so I need some onions. So I'm going to come out here to my drying onions and go ahead and pick one to use. It's so exciting. All right, so I got my 6 pounds of cukes that I'm going to peel, seed, chop. I'm going to peel, seed them, and throw them in the bowl. I got my onions here, so that's 3 pounds of onions, right? And then it called for 1 red and 1 green onion per 2 pounds. So green peppers. I was unsuccessful in growing these every year. I'm never successful. So I bought these. However, these are gigantic. So what I'm going to do is start by chopping up half and then seeing if I need to add extras. And I'm also adding in yellow just because it's pretty. So got all that together, and then a cup and a half of salt. So I will rough chop, then chop in the Cuisinart, put it in one of these big steel bowls, and then cover it with salt and water and let it sit for 2 hours to crisp up. All right, here we go. I think you guys have seen how I cut bell peppers before, but I just wanted to show you. Usually people cut the top off with that and they toss the whole thing, but I keep the top. Look at how much pepper there is there, bell pepper. And then I just reach in and pull out the inside. You can flip it either way. This cuts easier with the cut side up, especially if you have a knife you don't trust 100%, like it's not super sharp. My cleaver is extremely sharp, but just chopped so I can put it into the food processor. Just a rough chop. And then again, you know, that's that. So anyway, pretty easy to do, but I really encourage you to save these tops. I mean, that's a lot of pepper to be thrown away for no reason at all. So anyway, I'll get these done. All right. So here we have the red peppers, the bell peppers, along with, actually I put in 4 of those cherry hot peppers and pimientos. I've got a green bell and a yellow bell. And I'm thinking, I mean, God, look how beautiful. But I'm thinking this is enough. It called for twice as much pepper, bell peppers. I think this is fine, just the way it is. What do you guys think? Right? I mean, look how beautiful that's going to be. A nice relish on your burger or hot dog or whatever. Some pieces are big, some are small. That's fine with me. It's rustic. Like my spatula, came with the Cuisinart. It's perfectly in the bowl for scrape down. Love that Cuisinart. I got it for a birthday present. It was my food processor I've had for 30 years. Finally gave up the ghost. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Okay, so steps. Now what do we do? So we combine the onions, green and red peppers, and then salt in a large bowl and set aside for 2 hours. And it's going to draw the water out and help do some crisping up. So we need that back again. And here's, let's see, the recipe called for half a cup, right? But we're tripling it. So it's a cup and a half of salt, which is a lot. This is going to make a lot, though. The problem now is I got to figure out how many jars this is going to make, right? So it'll draw out the water, crisp everything up a little bit. All right. So now in the next 2 hours, what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to weigh this, and for every quart, a quart will take roughly a pound. So that's how I'm going to figure out, well, we can do that together, how many jars I'm going to need, plus a few extra. Yeah, I think that color is great. And then I will put the jars through the dishwasher, and I may hold them in the oven. We'll see how long the dishwasher takes. It only usually takes about an hour, so I don't want that to get too, them to cool down too much. So anyway, let's weigh this. So we knew how many pounds of ingredients we put in, but like, remember with the cucumbers, we seeded them and peeled them and everything, so that drastically reduces the weight. And the onions, we peeled off the outside and, you know, took the seeds out of the bell peppers and everything. So right now I am just over 9 pounds, if I take the weight off of this bowl, which is about 12 ounces, I'm down to about 8.5 pounds. So I'll put together 10 jars or so. With relish, I like to use a smaller size jar. It's just my own preference. So I'll try to figure out where I've got my pints and some half pints, and we'll go from there. So next time you see me, it'll be 2 hours later. Hey guys, so while we're letting the salt do its thing, I'm making the brine for our relish, and it is a combination of apple cider vinegar, sugar, and this is a low sugar recipe, so I'm pretty happy about that. The original recipe called for 3 cups vinegar, cider vinegar, 5%, but since I'm tripling it, I used 9 cups. However, I ran out of apple cider vinegar, and as you can see by the color, I used something different. So I used some red wine vinegar I had, which was also 5%. Very important to check that. I also make my own vinegar, but for canning purposes, you want to make sure it's a 5% acidity level, and there's no easy way for me to check that at home. So I use store-bought for canning. Quick pickles and stuff like that, I'll use my own vinegar. Okay, what else? So 1.5 cups of sugar. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4.5 cups of sugar in here. And 1 cup of water. So of course that's 3 cups actually. 2 cloves of garlic. Since I'm tripling it, I should use, what, 2, 4, 6, but I'm using like 10 because I love garlic and I have a bunch of garlic. What else? It calls for 2 teaspoons of ground allspice. I do not like allspice. I don't like cinnamon. I don't like mace. I don't like any of those anise, or not anise, but cinnamony like flavors, so I left that out. And I added black peppercorns and celery seed, which the recipe calls for. So while we're waiting for the jars to heat and for the relish to finish up, I'm going to go ahead and put this, get this on a low boil, and yeah, we'll be back. Alright, so it's been a couple hours, and now what I'm supposed to do is take the relish mixture and add it into the brine mixture, and I've had to upgrade to a bigger pot because I need to put this in there, and it's just so much that the last pot I had just wouldn't have been able to contain it all. I'm just going to kind of pour it slowly in here, and then I'll heat it for 5 minutes to boiling.